Question is this a major cause for concern, or is this just an ordinary pullback at which time you could look for expansion following the election cycle? We're going to have a look at this and a whole lot more in today's show. We're also going to have a look at a major trade opportunity specifically on Ethereum, which most people are capitulating on right now. So smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get straight into the show content immediately. We'll start off with the DXY, which is causing all of the rampage within the crypto market, the obliteration. Of course, you can see now the DXY, if we use our fib levels, is approaching that 0.786, which is going to be the next area of interest. If it doesn't pull back, you're expecting a little bit of a potential stop and reversal coming from that particular point in time. So you can see this has been pretty much an up-only environment for how many days now for the DXY? Literally for 19 days straight, which is probably one of the biggest runs that it's had. And this is probably the only thing that could truly threaten the health of the crypto market long term and the potential for a bull market, right? This could end a bull market, but we've seen this before. The DXY does tend to put in these massive rallies, and we'll be looking for some sort of weakness coming sometime soon. This is now approaching your next major order block, which you can see the order block occurred within this region over here. And order blocks typically get back tested as resistance. So we'll keep an eye out on that. That's one thing to have a look at over there. Gold is another thing that I want to mention over here. You can see I actually dropped this trade opportunity on the 14th of August, 2024, which was, of course, this year. This is a massive gold trade that we took. You can see the measured move target over there was $2,773 for a 12.21% move. I also brought up on the show, so probably many of you, even if you weren't in the Discord, had the opportunity to get in. And essentially that trade has, in my books, reach completion, because I'm looking for potential pullback within gold in the coming days and weeks, and this may affect the rest of the markets. We'll talk about that in a moment. So I've taken full profits officially on this trade. This trade is no more. It's 100% closed. So if you were in whale room and you took that trade, a massive congratulations. That's one of the biggest gold trades that I've probably ever taken. And also just a reminder for any of you that are in the whale room Discord, there's tons of other trades taking place over there. This is going to be one of your final calls or reminders to remember to join into whale room before the pricing goes up on the 1st of November. This is the cheapest you will ever get to at least join whale room for. So use the link in the description below and make sure that you join while that is still available over there. All right, let's continue on over here. Looking at the stock market, the S&P 500 is continuing to march onwards and upwards. This is going to be your major support if you see continuation or at least continued pullbacks across the board over here. This is going to be 5,651. I don't really see any major cause for concern when it comes to the stock market right now, with price marching up with high highs and high lows. Now, that's not to say that you won't experience volatility in the coming days and weeks, because we do know that we have the election phase, which is coming up on the 5th of November, and you would expect there should be volatility going into that election. Now, of course, a lot of people think the outcome of the election will heavily affect the 6th and 12-month outlook for the markets. I think that's incredibly unlikely. I think it can have an effect in the super short term, but 3, 6, 9, and 12 months out from now, our expectations are that we should be getting higher prices, right? And the reason why we say that is, if you have a look at this is the Nasdaq Composite after going up 32 sessions without consecutive down days. And when we study this and we have a look at the data over here, you can see the result 3 months later is that on average, you should see the Nasdaq up 83%, right? Or 83% of the time it will be up, and you're on average you're looking at about a 4.5% move, right? And then if you look 92% of the time, 6 months later it will be up. On average, you're looking at 12.1% move, and 100% of the time, 12 months later, following this at least this 32 sessions without a consecutive down day, you'll see the Nasdaq up on average 19.1%, which is pretty big moves, right? So if you see the Nasdaq going up on average 12 months from now, 19.1%, let's see where that would put the Nasdaq, 19.1%, which is pretty for the stock markets. These are absolutely enormous moves. So you're looking at somewhere around there, give or take about 588 for the Nasdaq. So all these markets are looking really, really good. Dow Jones was at new all-time highs, slight pullback, obviously following an extended move like this. That should be expected. And now you're going to probably form your next range to form the base for the following upside move. You can see again the S&P 500 over here, and then Coinbase also breaking back into the trading range, back testing nicely into that range, though, holding it as support. And all in all, that is looking good, right? Another thing that we can have a look at over here from Seth Golden is the S&P 500, along with all the other 8 bellwethers, which made 52-week highs week after week, right? So you can see over here the S&P 500 and then all the other 7 major charts that we're looking at over there. So what you typically see is what some people believe, this is the first time this has happened within this bull market, but rather than the market topping in that environment, you would actually expect that with age, the bull market would get stronger and stronger. And that's the first signs and symptoms that you are moving into that powerful bull market, and it should strengthen with age, right? So we're looking at high prices, which makes it interesting because the stock market's fear and greed index is actually sitting only at 63. So just in that greed zone over there, and not even anywhere near that extreme greed. So as the stock markets get stronger and stronger with age, you would expect that this fear and greed will start to trend towards extreme greed, and that's going to affect the crypto markets as well. Currently, the crypto market is sitting at 72 on the fear and greed index. So we are slightly high up. MicroStrategy breaking out as well towards new highs. 235 now. We have pretty sizable targets on this. If it is to play out the measured move targets, you're looking at possibly another 5x return over here on the MicroStrategy chart, which could take it up to around $1,000 to $1,200 for the MicroStrategy stock. Another one that I want to have a look at over here is Tesla, based on some of their results that recently just came out at being extremely positive. They just avoided a massive bearish engulfing candle on the monthly time frame, which would have been pretty catastrophic. That would have led to a move into about the 160 zone. But look at that strong move on the monthly candle, and now this is making this chart look extra bullish, because this, if closing over here or anywhere higher, is going to look like a breakout of the downsloping trend line, and most likely an explosive move towards the upside, which is all perfectly in alignment with these charts over here, right? Where we're looking at only the start of a bull market for at least the stock market, which should grow with strength as it ages, right? And the same thing over here, looking at the Nasdaq pushing up on average 19.1%, 100% of the time, 12 months later, following this type of a read. So therefore, all of these markets are looking strong, and we should expect that crypto should catch up. So when we look to the crypto markets over here and we look to the total cryptocurrency market cap, we can see it's still respecting this order block over here. I could probably mark out as well just a little bit more specifically this part of the order block. Let's just look at the 50% level. Okay, so a little bit further to go to get back above the $2.27 trillion mark. I would view that as a vote of confidence for the crypto market and a sign of strength, right? But ultimately, between the pink zones over here, which is 2.1, and on the top side 2.35 trillion, we're expecting a little bit of reaccumulation to take place. This forms that order block. Remember, when we look back in time, these order blocks are typically what lead to the big moves, right? Here you saw the order block over here led to the big move up, and you can go into any of the prior cycles when you've had these major bull runs, right? So let's go and have a look at this one over here. You can see typically these order blocks are what occur just prior to a big explosive move towards the upside. And all in all, everything is following exactly according to the plan, right? Breaking the long-term downsloping trend line. We know that Bitcoin leads the market, and Bitcoin is already close to coming into the top side of its trading range over here, which is where we said the Wyckoff accumulation schematic labeled as the sign of strength phase tends to take place. That should occur over here as you break just into the top side of this trading range over here for the total cryptocurrency market cap. Whereas with Bitcoin, we've already seen Bitcoin move much closer. So it shows you that new money is probably going to come into the market very soon, and then we should have continuation. Now, how soon could this be? It may only be realistically early next year. I'm going to give you other data to showcase why it's most likely going to be a 2025 altcoin season. And this is just the final reaccumulation for continuation onwards and upwards, right? So you can see everything is following as per the plan in terms of the post-halving cycle for Bitcoin over here. That's where the second half of the bull run tends to take place, and you get the parabolic advancements, just as I showed you now with the order blocks that you're forming on the total cryptocurrency market cap. So this consolidation into the all-time highs, from the prior cycle creates that order block and the springboard effect that leads to that continuation higher towards your timing target, right? My timing target that I have marked out over here for Bitcoin is situated between these two lines, which is going to be May 2025 and possibly into October 2025. So I'm also going to give you in today's show one easy opportunity that you could utilize to capitalize on those timing targets, right? Timing is sometimes much more important than actual price targets as a timing target. You need to look towards the timing because the timing rhymes so often, right? Whereas we don't have as much of an effect, or we can easily predict the timing as opposed to the price target. So if you look over here on Bitcoin, I'm also going to show you what ETH looks like in just a moment, but you can see Bitcoin is following exactly according to the plan, and we right at that point over here. As you can see, this is the point where you start to expect things will start to mark up quickly into the end of the year for Bitcoin, and then you might get one more flush towards the downside sometime between the end of the year and beginning of next year, and then you're looking for that final phase of the bull market, which should lead you into that timing cycle, right? Which again is anywhere between May and October of 2025. So all in all, that's looking good. This has been our trajectory that we've been following, and we look for this as an inflection point within the market. And we are now 225 days into this corrective phase. We consider it a corrective phase once the top was set in over here and we went in for the long-term consolidation, and we'll consider the corrective phase over the second that we take out that trading range high, right? Which we expect should occur some point over here around this vertical line, which is going to be your election phase, right? So keep all eyes on that. So far, everything is according to plan with high highs, high lows, high highs. Yes, maybe you come down one more time like that, but ultimately in the coming weeks, you're expecting another high, and that should end this corrective phase, which, by the way, has been one of the longest corrective phases that we've seen for Bitcoin within a bull cycle specifically. Now, the longer that you consolidate here for, the bigger the breakout. Always remember that when it comes to trading, the longer the consolidation, the bigger the next move. Now, that comes also with a cautionary sign that, of course, that could mean towards the downside as well. So you have to be very careful that this is not a macro distribution. Now, invalidation for that would occur, of course, if you do start to break below, these areas over here. This is going to be your major range low, this little order block that led to the move up over there. That's really the area that you want to defend. You don't want to see price sustain underneath that level. If you do, then this, in fact, could be macro distribution, which would be incredible, massive warning sign that the bull market is over. But you guys know my thoughts. I think that is incredibly unlikely, and that's based on various different things like this, looking at these charts over here, where we're expecting strength within the stock market and continuation within the stock market. So there it is. Also, Bitcoin breaking the stop and reversal indicator. Remember, we've done that. That shifts the momentum, and sometimes you chop around a little bit before leading into that next markup phase. So you'll see if we start to take out the weekly open, I'll show you on another chart now, which is also the previous week's high over there. This is where you'll start to see rapid expansion. All in all, that is looking good over there. We have still bullish posturing with our moving averages, so that's looking good over there. And this is the chart, right? This is where the SOS phase occurs, as I've labeled at the top over here. If Bitcoin starts to break into these regions, you can see you'll be clearing some very key levels, right? Remember the pullback that we were looking at earlier this week? We came perfectly into that zone. Now we're just chopping about over here. We have our previous week's high. We also have just above that the previous quarterly high, which shows you that is going to be a resistance area, right? So we need to see bulls get price action above this resistance area. Holding above that 69, 70K level is a major level to flip. And that's where your SOS, your sign of strength occurs. And that's as per this over here, the Wyckoff accumulation schematic. Again, you'll be transitioning from what's currently phase C into phase D. I believe that we're right here in phase D, this BULPS phase. This is most likely where Bitcoin's situated at right now. And we just need a little bit more strength to springboard it into the sign of strength, short consolidation over there. And then remember, phase E is where everything marks up. So all in all, the plan is still following to perfection. The 9 and 18 EMA are still angled towards the upside over there. And I will remind you, if you zoom in, it might be hard to see on a mobile device, but as per the definition of what a break of structure is, we've had a break of structure, right? You can see it right over here. You've had a break of structure. Price broke above those levels over there. And any pullback that occurs from that point onwards theoretically becomes a buying opportunity, right? So as Bitcoin continues to pull back over here on the 4-hour time frame, I've just marked out some obvious levels that you can have a look at over here. So looking at this as a major range low will make it nice and big. And then looking at this as a short-term range high. Now you can see you swept the highs over here. Let's grab our tool. You swept the highs over there. You swept the lows. And now you're coming back into the trading range. So I would say that probably what you're going to see over the coming days is maybe something like this, right? If you do get something like that, that probably becomes a buying opportunity. Remember, you also have quite a big wick over here. So sometimes you'll even come and fill 50% of that wick. So I wouldn't get too caught up on the red days within the market. We've spoken about this. The red days are opportunities to load up on positions that you missed out on previously, right? Specifically the red days within a bull market. Of course, not the red days in a bear market. Red days in a bull market are for buying, and green days within a bear market are for short selling, right? So if you firmly believe that we're in a bull market, any of these pullbacks over here is where you should be looking for your opportunities to get in. So you're looking for that price to come down. If it holds the trading range over here, you have your long opportunity, stop loss goes there, and then you can trade it to the top side of the trading range, break and hold above this region over here, and you can compound that trade towards the top of the range high at $72,000. And then a reminder, getting to $72,000 puts you into the sign of strength phase over here, which is where you're looking for a big move following that, which means you can probably just continue to hold your longs at that point. That's how you convert what initially a short-term trade. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, you're looking for a trade like this. This is where you compound these short-term trades, where you're just looking for an ordinary trade and you compound it into a swing long position, right? Where you start to get these moves up to $80,000. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Now we can see there is low liquidity in the low region over here, almost $20 million worth at just short of $67,000 Bitcoin. So where would that take you? If you just came under $67,000, that's round about this region. So you might sweep temporarily below the 50 EMA, right? And then if we move on to the 12-hour time frame over here, you can see the same thing, $14 million worth of liquidity over there at that region. Let's go on the 48-hour look back period. You are building also some liquidity on the top side. So just means a little bit more of a ranging market. If you look at the deltas, which are dropped in the whale room Discord over here, you can see currently Bitcoin slightly positive, flipping positive over there. ETH very negative. And this is a big one that we have to talk about today is ETH, right? There's a lot happening over there. As the market capitulates, I think now's the time to pay attention. And I'll show you one easy way that you can actually make a lot of money on ETH with very, very, very low risk. And I'm going to elaborate on that, by the way, in tomorrow's show as well. So make sure you join for that. Solana, because it's been one of the top performers, has positive deltas, meaning more longs jumping into the market. You can see near Brett and over here, what do we have is Bonk all negative on the delta. So people are still looking for short opportunities over there. So Bitcoin dominance really, really soaring. Now, this is where one of the big trade opportunities comes into play. The market is definitely capitulating on ETH right now. And we said we expect some sort of a top on Bitcoin dominance between about 60% and, in an extreme case, 63%. Now, that would create a lot of damage to ETH if you actually did get another 6-7% move on the Bitcoin dominance chart. But more or less within this region, we're expecting some sort of a top. You can see the rising wedge formation. And then, of course, if you go to ETH, you have the inverse of that, which is a falling wedge formation, right? Very, very interesting because they kind of inversely trade against one another, right? For obvious reasons. So if you take this trend line over here, you have your anchor point. You have touch point 1, touch point 2, and then you can just imagine if Bitcoin dominance does actually come up this week, because it depends on if it is this week or next week, but give or take, we can mark it off over there. That's in an extreme scenario, you're going to be looking at about 59.74%. So just around that 60% region, you should expect that the dominance reign is approaching its end, right? And then we're starting to look for ETH to possibly catch some sort of a bid. So the reason that I want to speak about this is because specifically around ETH is if you look at the Bitcoin quarterly returns, we tend to understand that the best returns come in Q4, right? There it is. On average, Bitcoin does about an 82% return in Q4. If you look at ETH, right, in Q4, ETH does on average about a 20% return. So it does start to move slowly towards the upside, which is kind of what we've seen on the ETH USD pair, but it's very lackluster. But then if you fast forward and you go from Q4 to Q1, this is what tends to occur for ETH, right? 92.75% returns. ETH typically experiences its best returns in the first quarter following where Bitcoin had its best returns in the fourth quarter. And then you go back to the first quarter for Bitcoin, on average, 56% returns. And I find it incredibly interesting, right? You're looking at a potential top over here on the Bitcoin dominance. You're looking at the quarterly returns for Ethereum being the best in Q1, which is going to be the next quarter. And simultaneously, we can see over here, if we look at the return on investment from the cycle low for ETH compared to cycle 1 and 2, we're currently obviously in the bottom one over here. This has been one of the worst performing cycles for ETH, right? Completely underperforming. Now, if ETH somehow manages to get a bit over here and play catch up, there's a lot of gains to be had over here. Remember, there's a low risk strategy that you can employ over here to capitalize on this move. I'm going to show you right now. There's two ways, right, that you can do this. Now, I just want to go a little bit more into detail on ETH BTC. Falling wedge formation, reminder, the inverse of the rising wedge on Bitcoin dominance. And now this is really approaching our line. Again, taking the anchor points over here, touch point 1, 2, 3. I mean, we can make it really precise over there and then see how this lines up. So let's quickly line that up perfectly. Okay, I would say that's good enough. 1, 2, 3. And if we're looking for the next touch points over there, that's going to be 0.0361. That would be the ratio of ETH to BTC. But what's incredibly interesting to me is I've also lined this up over here where we took from the recent low to the high, and we're using the Fibonacci extension the same way that you would when you're looking for long opportunities, but this is an inverse trade. And the 1.618, you can see horizontally, lines up exactly at this area. Could it be, that is the question, that we are 1.74% away from some sort of a bottom on ETH BTC, or if not a bottom, at the very least, a big reaction and a bounce out of that zone? It is possible, right? It's definitely possible. If we look at the ETH USD charts on the right-hand side, paints a little bit of a different picture, just really choppy and all over the place. But like Tesla, almost created a engulfing candle, and then Tesla spiked towards the upside. What happens if you saw some sort of a rotation into ETH over here? Now, we have higher targets and projections, at least for ETH in the first quarter. Now, the way that I'd view it is this. We have this massive rectangle, right? Firstly, we have this big consolidation rectangle over here, which is something that you could have a look at for major tops that could occur on ETH. These are optimistic targets looking at about $7,200. Now, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, ETH rallies hard into the next quarter. Do I think that it will make this measured move target? Probably not. But do you think that it's possible that, ETH could probably by March next year rally, if it's its best time, towards the prior all-time highs at about $4,700-ish? I think that's possible, right? If that's possible, you have a unique opportunity where, of course, either you can look for a spot position over here, or you can open a low leverage long position, or you can take an even lower risk opportunity, which is an option, right? You can take out an option on ETH with the expectation that it's going to go up to this level. So the place to do that is 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏. 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏 is essentially the Rolls Royce of options trading when it comes to the crypto markets. If you go through to the link in the description below, you'll see over here, there it is, 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. You can go through to 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 over here. It's got a double benefit though. I'm going to touch on this a whole lot more. Tomorrow, we're going to do a whole session specifically on the options in 𝗬𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕. For now, you can just get your accounts ready because they actually have a double benefit where they have a trading competition, which is also going to be running, and you can win up to 200,000 USDC. Now, the reason that I mentioned this is you can pick up options for very, very cheap right now on ETH while nobody is interested, right? And that's the best time to buy it. It's like buying it on extreme discount, right? It's like buying something this year that's not trending on Black Friday, which you're going to gift to somebody for Christmas next year, which is going to be the most trending gift that's out there, right? So as this approaches its end over here, if you go through to ETH, you can scroll down the list over here. Again, remember we said, there's a possibility you're going to come towards the top side of the trading range over here for ETH, which is going to be around $4,700. And we can go to $4,700, dated over here for the end of the March quarter, which I'll remind you over here is the best performing time for ETH on average, or on the right-hand side, on average, ETH putting in, 92% gains over there. So if we are looking for a big move on ETH, we can go through over here to 𝗬𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕. Currently, the ETH price is sitting at 2,500. So you put 100% on that because on average it's about 90%. You can see 100%, of course, would take you to 5,000. I'm targeting the top side of the trading range over here, which is about that $5,600 level. So then you go through to 𝗬𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕. You look for the $5,600 option over here. There it is. The closest one that we have is 5.5. And then you can see that you can pick up these options for $40. Literally, it's unbelievable. That's like buying one ETH for $40 now. And if ETH goes to that price point over there, you have the option to sell it, and you bought it at $40. $40, guys. So use the link. I'm going to show you more how to practically do this tomorrow. For now, get your exchange ready on 𝗬𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕. Use the link below. Go through to first sign up. Click on that. Of course, sign up to ByBit. Do the whole KYC thing, everything that they require, make your deposits, and then we'll go there. Remember, they do also offer, of course, perpetuals, but we're going to focus specifically on the options trading side. And then double benefit, we're going to be in the competition as well, right? So that is for tomorrow. Now, let's get into the altcoin mix. What's going on in the altcoin sector? I see everyone's saying, Mantra, is it time to buy? Mantra is hitting the zone, right? It is hitting the zone. Let's go to Mantra over here. Now, you'll remember that we said there's a possibility that this is going to put in some sort of a top, right? We saw price moving up. We saw it rejecting. This is the way that I was able to identify it. If you go through over here, there it is. We could see the possible distribution taking place, failure to hold on the low time frame, the dotted line over here, which is your trading range, and simultaneously breaking that. This is where I started to sell. This was actually publicly mentioned over here. If you go into, again, the Whale Room Discord and you go under Captain's Take, you'll see I just updated them on this literally today. Look, there it was. I dropped it. I said I'm taking significant profits on Mantra. And then if you go back today, there it is, right? Hitting the zone. That was the target level that we were looking at. Price is coming into that zone. In a strong bullish environment, you would expect that between the 0.5 and 0.382, the price should hold that level, right? So could this be the zone to re-enter? The reason I sold is to re-enter lower. So I'm watching over here, if we can see something like that, some signs of strength. I don't think it's going to V-shape out of here. So it's not a massive rush, but yeah, more or less this 123 is going to be the area where you're starting to look to allocate into Mantra. All right, what else have we got, guys? Drop in the comments over there. I will make sure to bring it up. Let's go to, one of the top positions that we have, which is Solana. Very, very strong. Still looking good. Right now, this is looking like it's flipped this level into support. It's just a question of, do you get a back test into 160 or straight continuation following this big move, right? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. We can go to Say. And okay, approaching the level of interest. For those of you in Whale Room, I remember I updated all of these charts on a low time frame to give you the trigger plan, like on the 4 hour for things like we did Casper. I don't know, there's a whole list. There's a whole list over there. Please go in there. This is what we're looking for, right? Sweep below, reclaim, and then boom, that's the long opportunity over there. Let's go back onto the daily. Okay, file storage. Let's go to Arweave. How's Arweave doing? Click on Arweave. So really the same thing over here. You are looking for, reaching towards the apex of this falling wedge, some sort of a bottom that should occur over here. It also matches up with the strong horizontal. So just keep your eyes out on that zone. Okay, banana gun. Banana's previously been one of the best performing, okay, within the cycle at least. Where did it go? Banana gun. Okay, let's just try that again. Banana, USDT. Okay, there we have it. Banana, USDT. There it is. Cool. Okay, also broke its downsloping trend line. What you need to do here for banana now is just observe. It's possible that it's going to come all the way back down to 43. It's really going to be Bitcoin dependent. But as price bounces up over here, watch that in case of a lower high. If you get a bit of a lower high over here, very, very high probability you're going to do that, right? You're going to come back down. This is where the reaccumulation will happen around this 44 zone. Alternatively, it might just do that. It might reclaim, hold, and then rally. I have my position set. I'm long on this already. It's just a question of whether I'm going to add more on spot, right? That's all that I'm waiting for. Just a question of if I'm going to add more. Okay, Zeus. Yeah, we can have a look at Zeus. Look at this guy's face here, liquidated shorts. Okay, let's have a look at Zeus quickly. Part of that cross-chain sector. Let me just find it. Where do we have it listed over here? Zeus. 1 second. There we go. Okay, Zeus. There we have it. There's Zeus. So Zeus coming into the range highs over here, or the range breakout level. This is from the ascending triangle. It is possible that this one breaks down a little bit further. But yeah, in terms of that comment that was requesting Zeus over there, I do think that it's pretty close, right? Maybe you see something like that. And then it's been a long-term, or not a long-term, but it's been quite a couple of days that it's been in a downtrend. Usually, you're not going to see this beyond a couple of weeks, and ultimately, how long has this already been in terms of straight downward price action? It's almost been a month, right? So I would be looking somewhere towards this 19 region as major support. Other cross-chain ones to look at, you have, of course, 𝗏𝗏chain still consolidating around over here. This is probably, I'm just going to delete this so it's not so messy over here. But the most likely outcome for something like this is it's just going to chop about, and then eventually it's going to break, right? Once it gets above 550, that's where you'll see rapid expansion on 𝗏𝗏chain. The reason I also want to mention, some of these cross-chain projects is because eventually I think we're going to get to a point within the cycle where there's going to be a lot of swaps going on within the market, and then the cross-chain sector is going to run, right? So another one to look at is 𝗥𝗓𝗓. I have some exposure to this. Watch as it attempts to hold the top side of the range over here at 77. So 77 over here, watch as it does this. It needs to hold that region. And if so, you're going to be looking at further markup. There's another one that I recently added onto my list. Okay, is PRQ. So if you look at PRQ over here, I recently added onto the list because it's in this long-term reaccumulation, and PRQ is typically going to be one of the beneficiaries from the cross-chain narrative. So if cross-chain begins to run, you're going to see PRQ run, and I'm kind of watching this reaccumulation range low. This is on a daily time frame. If you go through to the token over here, I was recently chatting with the team. There you go, and you go to Parsec, and you go to the token over here, you'll notice that the token's fully diluted valuation is currently around that $24 million mark, right? There's an opportunity over here because they're actually going to have a TGE, which is coming out in December, and they launching the React token, right? The reason that they're doing, or at least launching React token and rebranding to React is because the narrative has really shifted within the market, as I'm sure many of you have seen, to anti-VCs, right? And if you look over here, the token over here, just have a look at this, is max supply, 310 million. If you look at the circulating supply, 275 million. So the majority of the coins have already been released, which means that you won't be dumped on. But that's not the important part. The important part is that the React token, when it launches in December, more or less sometime in December, it's most likely launching at $100 million market cap. And if you hold this token now, the PRQ token, so if you buy the token and you hold it now, it's a 1-for-1 swap, right? They're going to open up a bridge so you can actually buy it still on centralized exchanges to get it nice and cheap. OKX, KuCoin, CoinX, etc. And when they launch the bridge, you can send it to the bridge and you can swap it exactly 1-for-1 for a token that's probably going to be valued at 5 times the price. So no VCs as well in the new launch. Absolutely no VCs. So for those of you looking for an easy 5x opportunity, that's one of the opportunities. They're competing with projects like, Layer 0. So if you go through to Layer 0, and again, keep in mind, these are $23 million market cap. Layer 0, where's their market cap? $402 million market cap, right? So much, much bigger. If you look at Wormhole, let's go to Wormhole, is another competitor that they have. What's the Wormhole market cap? Sitting at $722 million. Let's go to the next one over here. 𝗥𝗓𝗓. How's 𝗥𝗓𝗓's market cap? And 𝗥𝗓𝗓 is fully, or not fully diluted, just their market cap, $656 million. And then let's look at one more like Celestia. They also compare themselves to Celestia. So it's like getting into Celestia early. Market cap on Celestia, $1.3 billion. So, if you're getting it at 5x cheaper because the new token is going to be launching at 100 million, and that token can play catch up. I mean, this is a really big trade opportunity, which is potentially on your hands. So again, PRQ, one to put on your watch list, one to on these down days to start to dollar cost average into. All right, and then let's have a look at what else there is. Drop in the comments. What other coins are we having a look at over here? I'm keeping still an eye on the ratios, the ETH BTCs, the Sol BTCs, etc. Let's see Phantom BTC. Where's this one at? Okay, kind of pulling back over there. Let's check out a couple more. What other ones do we have? Let's see 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗧. 𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓𝗓 is still getting smashed over there. Layer 2's real world assets. How's Mantra BTC doing? Okay, so big pullback on Mantra BTC, but if it's going to continue to maintain this trend, this has been a pretty monumental trend when it comes to Mantra. Look at that, Mantra BTC. You're right there approaching that trend line once again. So lining it up with the USD pair, if this is going to continue to be a top performer, decent zone, right? Decent zone over there. Let's just grab our tool. Decent zone if you're looking for a bounce off of this over here. Mantra, if it continues that run, this is going to make you more BTC. All right, what else? Let's check out FET BTC. Okay, still coming down. How's Pepe BTC doing? Okay, also coming down. You got a range level over here, range low with BTC. Okay, we looked at this the other day. I don't know if it's going to make it over here, but if it does, I think that's a solid place to start to bid a little bit of with. Bonk BTC, also kind of just chopping about super. Okay, those are the BTC pairs. Though. All right, what else, guys? Drop in the comments over there. Klaus, yeah, we can have a look at Klaus. I did see there's a bit of profit taking going on over there. Remember, for the whale remembers, you got in at 7 million, so probably you should be safe. Let's probably look at it like this in terms of market cap. All right, let's grab this tool over here. One second, where's our rectangle? There it is. Okay, sometimes things do come back into those regions. So if it does, I mean, it's going to be coming all the way back to your entry over there. If this does continue to distribute, then you're looking at Klaus coming back into this zone. The project seems still pretty strong to me. If it hits that level, that's a new opportunity for you guys to buy the dip over there on Klaus. Okay, what else, guys? AVAX. Yeah, let's have a look at AVAX. Okay, if the gaming sector comes alive, you'll probably see AVAX as well rally. But, right now, it's opportunity cost being in something like this. Personally speaking, opportunity cost, the green line is really a point of control. You want to see support held over here at about that $25 region. All right. What else? Gear. Yeah, let's have a look at Gear. Gear is also one that's been heavily hit. Has it got any chance of recovery? That is the question. Where are we at? Not looking good, bruv. I must be honest with you. Really not looking good. Let's just straighten that line out over there. This is reapproaching ultimate lows. So look, if you have a strong fundamental basis for why you think this is fundamentally strong, then probably the zone to reaccumulate. But I find it personally really challenging to invest as a value investor when it comes to crypto, because it's so speculated. That's why I tend to focus more on the charts, because then you can ride the momentum and make money. I do tie in the fundamentals and future things that may be coming up. But let's have a look at this quickly. Total supply. Okay, look, I mean, most of the tokens are out, right? Circulating supply, total supply, max supply, all the same over there. So I don't think that there should be any tokens that are raining down from VCs. So it's just a question of whether the market catches onto that as a narrative. I don't know. Filecoin, yeah, let's have a look at Filecoin. How's Filecoin doing? Okay, I actually see it. It's right over here. One sec. There we go. Okay, so Filecoin, not so great. Similar to a lot of the other coins out there, just reaccumulating again. If you have additional information, like with the PRQ token that I just told you, that there's some sort of a launch coming up, so you have an opportunity for 5x while it's down at the bottom of the range, then fair enough. If there's any sort of other info that you have on Filecoin while it's hanging around these lows over here, then yes, that becomes the zone where you're looking to reaccumulate at about that 280 region. All right. Before we get into more requests, guys, I do want to remind you, just a reminder, if you do want to join into Whale Room, the traders there are absolutely crushing it. These are our coaches over here, dropping constant information and trades. I'm also updating you all the time. This is where we trade also the legacy markets, gold, etc., everything, right? We have a whole lot of different trade opportunities. I'm updating you all the time. For example, these are all the trades that have been updated. If we go back to this list, I just want to give you all the coins, right? It was these ones. So yesterday I updated based on the buy levels that we're looking at, all of these ones over there. I re-updated them on a low time frame, giving you trigger plans for how to get in. So if you're not in Whale Room, remember pricing goes up from the 1st. It's going to be going up about 60%. You're not going to get it cheaper ever again. This is the cheapest opportunity. And then I also want to remind you for tomorrow's show, if you want to become a sophisticated trader, if you want to take your trading and your knowledge to the next level, please join tomorrow's show where we're going to be going through 𝗕𝗏𝗕𝗏. Get your account ready because that's where we're going to actually take some trades, and the links are in the description below. All right, let's take a couple more requests. 𝗏, sure, I'll go to 𝗏. Let's go to 𝗏 over here. 𝗏 USDT. All right. Okay, so 𝗏 Oracle solution on Solana, it is kind of pushing towards the upside over here. You can see the reaccumulation has been taking place. High lows, equal highs. Once you can start to push above that, you should have a measured move from that breaking price above 50 cents. If it holds above 50 cents, of course, higher at that point. And this is why you don't want to chase newly launched coins. My rule is that, in traditional markets, an IPO tends to bleed out at least 50% following the IPO launch, so initial public offering. And same thing with a newly launched crypto coin, you tend to see much extremer drawdown. So if IPOs, which are regulated markets, do 50% down, then you can be looking at, things in crypto doing between 70 and sometimes 90% down. So this did the usual 81% from top to bottom following the hype into the launch. And that's why I always say, it's fine to buy into the hype and the launch for these coins, capitalize on the volatility and the move and the interest and all the hype around it. But don't be a bag holder, right? Because they always tend to bleed out. And if you want to be a long-term holder, wait for that bleed out and then start to establish your positions. Okay, render. I did drop render as well in the comment, at least in the Discord for those of you in there. It's in the Discord. Let's go to drift. There's a request around drift. Okay, drift. Here it is on the top. Okay, so it's kind of caught within this parallel channel. Probably going to be a bit of profit taking following the recent move up. So we can mark out a couple of levels. Let's just see over here. Typically what I do is I use the fib tool. First thing I look at is for the 50% level. So your 50% level is coming in at 51 cents. Watch for support at 51 cents. That is an important area that you want to see holding. That's it from me, folks. Let's cut off over there. I'll see you all on the 𝗕𝗓𝗕𝗓 session tomorrow. We're going to do some options trading. Have a great day, and I'll see the rest of you tomorrow. Cheers for now.